This is Dave McCain with the Right Tree Genealogy doing a follow-up video on my original video done back in March. Update June 2022. I did a video back then. It's still valid for the most part. There's just a few things I want to correct on this one, and so I thought it's best to go ahead and do a quick update video with showing what was and what is and a few other notes. So the original question that I posted back in March was, there's SNPs that are directly upstream of the terminal SNP. They were in presumed negative, where they were grayed out. And where did they go was the question. Well, update for June 2022 is that they now appear as presumed positive. There is a note I want to make here. FTDNA, to quickly cover it, has a requirement of 10 positive reads, high quality reads, and if there's any conflicts of reads, like other high quality areas, but there's still a no call, either a null or a no call area, it can reduce the auto calls. Now, disclaimer, they have a lot bigger algorithm than just this statement, but in general, the system can auto call a positive, a negative, a tested positive, a tested negative, and will automatically put a no call value. And if it's now a presumed positive, it's directly upstream of your terminal SNP at some point up that stream. It could be way up, or it could be within a few blocks of yours. Back in March, again, there was the upstream block of A1704. That was the upstream, a block upstream. So you see all the green here, which represents positive tested positive regions, and up here in this one area it has 36 equivalents, as we would call them here. And in that one, at the time, there were several blocks that were grayed out, and one I focused on, which is a key one to look at, we've been talking about internally in our project, is this A1705. It was presumed negative. Update for June 2022, that A1705 is now showing as presumed positive. This also applies to the presumed negative that were in this block below it as well. There's back in March of 2022. They are now showing presumed positive. Now, again, in that other video, which will be attached at the end of this video, it's called the BigY DNA Upstream SNP Presumed Negative video. It shows you in the block match list, you go over to name variants, and again, I have details in that one if you want to watch how to do those. And I changed this value to show all, and I had already posted in the A1705. Well, if you notice this, still there this way, is it's got a question mark here. Okay, so that means it is a value that was a no call area or a null area, so it's got a question mark there for the family tree DNA. When you actually look at the DNA for my father, this is my father's DNA here, he had 27 reads for the derived, which was A, and then he had 7 no call areas or questionable areas, and that prevented it from calling it automatically in the system, so it was given a question mark. Well, a little cleaner one, another screenshot from another one that's now presumed positive, is there's only 6 reads here. And again, if you watch the previous video, I talk about the quality of reads and information, along with what I said earlier in this video as well. 10 quality reads without any conflicting no-call areas, and in this case there's only 6 reads. So again, it gave the question mark or the no-call for one that's actually positive for the variant. So the June 2022 updated conclusions are, the main conclusion is if a BigY tester has upstream named SNPs that are presumed positive, there's a way to see what you have in that area. Okay, and that's again described on the how-to section in the previous video. And don't make assumptions for the presumed positive SNP. Take a look at this. If you can look at those in that name variant section, see if it is actually just because you have low reads, it's not a clean read area on your test, or there's conflicting, like my father had 27 positives for the variant, but had 7 that were conflicting, which caused it to do a no call. And then I do want a cautionary note here. I say it in the other video, and I'm going to say it in this one as well, is not all SNPs will show or are visible in the named variants tab. That is usually because they were named early, and several of them are in the ambiguous category. And then if it's an ambiguous one, don't let that bother you. It's most likely not your terminal SNP, and therefore it's not relevant to you to focus on. Focus on how you can find your matches. So you saw that conclusion, and what I would say is don't get hung up on the presumed positives. Focus on your terminal SNP and those people that match you in your match list, or if they're not in your match list, checking out your YSTRs to find people that are in neighboring or brother branches of the haplotree, and try to connect and do paper trails. Well, I hope this video was informative for you. Please consider subscribing right here, watching these 2 videos, and right here you will see the video that I was referencing, the original video that this is updating, if you want to take a look at that as well. Let's continue learning together.